All right, so chapter 15 of Abby Carnelia's one and only magical power, and it is entitled Orientation. The guy in the suit was super friendly, and Abby thought also super weird. He sure didn't act like the director of a camp. He acted more like their puppy. "Greetings, greetings all," he exclaimed. "We've been expecting you. So thrilled, so thrilled." He was a one-man welcoming committee. He rushed to grab each kid's hand and shook it like he was pumping water. "Hello there, Phil Stutter. How are you? I'm Phil. Nice to meet you. Phil Stutter. I run this place. Great to see you. Thanks for coming. Here, let me get that bag for you. No. Please call me Phil." Abby and Ben happened to glance at each other at exactly the same moment. Clearly, they were both thinking the same thing. Which, if you had put it into words, was something like, "What the?" "So everybody survived? It must have been quite a ride." Phil was going on. As he spoke, he was trying to prop open the big glass front door with his heel while hauling duffel bags into the lobby. "I've made the drive many times myself. I know what you've been through, but you're in good hands with Ferd. Okay, watch the corner there. Ah, good girl." Abby had never seen Phil before in her life, and yet she recognized his voice. It was weirdly familiar. A little bit sing-songy, a little bit nasal. Where had she heard that before? Eventually, they all made it into the lobby. Phil finally stopped talking, at least to them. Instead, he began speaking to a pretty receptionist at the front desk. She made a quick phone call, and within seconds, 3 guys in matching black work shirts arrived to take the kids' duffel bags. Phil invited them to plop down on the big leather chairs. He pulled one of them around so that he could sit on it and face them. "Ogle dogle," he began, glancing down at his clipboard. "First, I want to welcome to Camp Cadabra Advanced Placement Program. It's a really big honor for me to meet you folks. I've been waiting for you for a long time. You and the other kids." Ricky shot his hand straight up like a lightning rod. "What other kids?" Phil smiled. "Good question. Ben, are you Ben? Oh, no, you're Ricky. Ricky. Well, as a fact, as you may know, there's more than one Camp Cadabra. In fact, we've opened up summer camps for young magicians all around the country. 5 of them in all. We like to think that they're the finest magic camps in America. And at each camp, we're looking for something beyond plain old magic tricks. I think you know what I mean here. All 4 of you have come from New Hampshire camp. But tonight, at the social, you'll meet the kids we've invited from the other camps. It's a very special group. Very, 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 very special." His glasses had slipped down his nose. He took a minute to push them back up with one finger and peer at the kids through them. "Now, I know you've probably got a lot of questions, so I want you all to think of me as your answer man. I'm absolutely full of answers. I'd better be. I run this place." He paused and looked eagerly from face to face, hoping for laughter. There wasn't any. In the meantime, he went on, "Ferd will be staying with you at this facility, so he'll always be on hand if you need anything in particular. But for now, I know you're all very tired from that long ride. Why don't we show you to your guest rooms, and then we'll all meet in the restaurant for a bedtime snack in half an hour." Guest rooms? Restaurant? It was starting to sound more like a hotel than a summer camp. Phil stood up, pushed his chair back to where it had come from, and motioned for them to follow. He's making me tired just reading him. "Okay, enough chit-chat. Come. I can't wait for you to see the place." "Hey!" shouted Eliza as she stood up. She'd been quiet long enough, and now the brassy New Yorker in her was bubbling to the surface. "How come there's no lake or cabins or anything? What kind of camp is this anyway?" But Phil was already walking briskly away. It's a wonderful place, wonderful. We built it just for you. You're going to love it. Ben wasn't quite getting it either. He trotted to catch up. Well, if there are only a few kids here, how come there are so many buildings? Phil didn't even bother to look back at him. He kept right on striding along. Running a chain of camps all across the country is a big project, he replied with a shrug. Gotta have a headquarters somewhere, right? He took them out back of the lobby and into a long carpeted hallway. The group thinned out to fit the narrower space. Abby was getting squished against a wall. Excuse me, Mr. Shutter. Phil, call me Phil. Always Phil, okay? That's how we roll here. He gave her a wink, or tried to. Phil couldn't actually wink, so he wound up blinking both eyes at her and just looking really strange. Okay, Phil, Abby said, trotting to keep up. Can I call my parents? I haven't talked to them in, forever. There'll be plenty of time for that, Phil replied. In the meantime, there's a brand new laptop right in every guest room, so feel free to drop them an email or what have you. Abby thought. For a guy who says he's here to give us answers, he sure doesn't have a lot of them. They rounded the corner and came to a doorway. Next to it was a small black box. Phil unclipped a little plastic security card from his belt and waved it in front of the box. Instantly, a little green light turned on and the door unlocked with a loud click. My dad has that at the bank where he works, Eliza said to nobody in particular. It's for security. You are quite right, little lady, Phil replied. Your parents have entrusted you to our care, and so your safety is our absolute priority. Nobody gets into the camper area without one of these security cards. In fact, after hours, we turn on motion detectors in this hallway and even pressure sensors on the floor. You may find that excessive, but hey, you folks are special, and we intend to keep you safe and sound. You never know who else might think you're special, and we don't want anyone coming in here except the good guys. He made another attempt at winking, but just wound up looking like he'd gotten dust in his eyes. They made their way through yet another vestibule into yet another lobby with yet another receptionist sitting at, you guessed it, another front desk. This is Candy, Phil said. You four are staying right here in this pod, and she'll be on duty right here at the desk if you need anything at all. Candy handed Phil a set of 4 card keys, which he handed out to the children. And here we are, Phil finally announced, sweeping his arm. Find your place. The pod, as Phil called it, consisted of 4 rooms, all connecting to Candy's little lobby. One camper's name appeared on a little plaque next to each door. Abby walked up to hers, but before she slid her key card into it, she took a cautious look back at Ben. He was already at his own door across the lobby, trying to figure out which way to slide his card into the slot. She turned back to her own door, swiped her key card, and stepped inside. It wasn't like a camp cabin, that's for sure. It was, well, it looked like a really, really expensive hotel room. The bed was big enough for 6 people to sleep on. Enormous glass picture windows formed the back wall, with a view out to the courtyard and the gigantic fountain. Next to the headboard of the bed, Abby found a panel full of buttons that you could push without even getting up. One of those buttons opened and closed the curtains. Another one turned off all the lights in the room. The first time Abby pressed the 3rd button, she just about jumped out of her skin. An electronic whirring noise started coming from the bureau opposite the bed, and then from a hidden slot, up came a flat panel TV the size of Kansas. It rose up as though it were riding an invisible elevator. Whoa, she said out loud. there was a super thin, shiny new laptop on the desk and an iPod in a mini stereo.
Okay, I want to go to that camp now.
I know, right? And a leather desk chair that in it had a remote control of its very own. Not only could it adjust in about 64 different ways, but it could also massage your back.
Okay.
That degree of overkill, Abby soon learned, was just about everywhere.
Okay.
Like,
sorry.
Go ahead.
Sign me up for that camp.
Right? But
yeah, that would have mean that I'm not much of a camping person. Not even if they had that with electronic devices. Where do I sign?
Right? In the bathroom, there was a hot tub, a regular bathtub, and a shower. And the shower had, no kidding, 8 different sprayers.
Huh?
To make sure there wasn't one single inch of your body that didn't get squirted.
How does that make any sense?
She wanted to call over to Ben's room so they could say, "Whoa," together. But even though her room had more high-tech gadgetry than a space shuttle, she was surprised to find one obvious item missing. There was no phone.
Oh.